Probably did.
That's our musical tone.
He was probably here and listened to us all yelling.
Yeah.
I haven't had an update at all with the senior services, other than the last I heard, everything I think was going pretty well, other than a funding transition. I didn't hear if they ever came to a resolution with.
I think he was gonna come here and just update you guys
Sure.
and probably talk to you about it, to
Okay.
see if you can know how we could get some of that,
Okay.
Money in the bank or whatever, so.
From Kidder?
Yeah, I think, I'm not sure.
Yeah, what about it?
My only recommendation would probably be to consult the state's attorney, because I'm sure there's
Where's Joe today?
things on vacation.
Okay.
Another use or lose situation, huh? No.
Well, it's January, so you lost it.
should be good.
You know, I, just to kind of sum up this conversation here, just because I probably dropped some hard truths on some of this stuff, you know, and I'm not perfect on everything, but this was kind of a transition to be expected, okay? And I don't think any of us are probably surprised here, but I think Russ is running into the transitional issues that we're having. Not so much personality issues, but just when you come into a place, and especially, and not to pick on him, but he did come in late. You know, if he would've came in September, October, like we'd originally agreed, by now he probably would've worked through some of these things, where now we're working through them. End of the year is tough.
Oh, yeah.
When you're a business-minded person, I mean, obviously income tax isn't such an issue, but there's still your end of the year whatevers, you know? This is all a learning curve for it, and I know Russ didn't like to hear it, and it probably was offensive to him, because in his mind, he has experience, and I'm not trying to run down that road. He hasn't ran into these issues yet, and now the problem is some of these are seasonal issues. You might not see it again for another year, so, like this end of the year vacation issue, it happens in a lot of places where they have a use it or lose it scenario. And so, I'm kind of glad it came up, because I've advocated for a long time, but I've never gotten anywhere with it. When I worked at Falkirk Mine, they had a totally different vacation scenario. That vacation scenario, when you first started your full-time employment and you were eligible for benefits and through your initiation period, probation, I don't know what it's called that, you got 80 hours of vacation, 2 weeks.
Yep.
And you had to use it, or you lost it.
Yep.
That was the use it or lose it, and that's because they wanted you out of there for 2 weeks, just get out of there. Even if you didn't wanna be at work, other people probably didn't want you at work. But anyway, once you hit your 5-year period, you gained another 40 hours. But that was eligible to be paid out at the end of the year.
Cash payout.
Yes.
Okay.
Now it was always subject to taxes and you got gouged on it, because it was like a bonus. And then every 5 years until you hit like 20 years, the 20-year people ended up having 5 weeks, which equated to 200 hours, which is about where we're at in this window of use it or lose it. I liked that policy because the 15 and 20-year folks kinda had a little bit of a 10-year bonus. Like if they didn't wanna burn that vacation, their experience allowed them to kinda get a bonus at the end of the year. The other nice part about it is it's budgeted dollars, you can budget for that. You know, somebody retires here and they have 240 hours because they had their stored time plus what they were currently doing that year. Now you're paying out 240 hours of vacation, you might not have necessarily budgeted for it. You probably have the money, but geez, that's kind
You
of
don't
a
wanna
hit.
cut that check, okay?
Where if you already know that, hey, X employee is going to get 200 hours worth of vacation, whether they get paid out or it's in a bonus, and you can start to adjust for that stuff. And then also, because the idea of 10 years always come up every once in a while, like, oh, long-term employees don't really see any benefits from being, that's a scenario where you can start to reward these long-term employees, because if they're not a vacation hound and they wanna work all the time, and they just burn their minimums on doctor's appointments and short trips, they get that little 1, 2, 3 week bonus at the end of the year paid out in cash. The other nice part is as a county, you're settling out this vacation stuff. You know, most people aren't gonna have that 80 hour, they're gonna burn that throughout the year, just incidentally. And now you're at the point where all your employees are in a cash payout type vacation, where when you withhold them because of storms, things like that, then at least they get paid out, and they don't have this, because we've extended vacation sometimes into June, July, August, because after a bad winter, you roughly have a bad spring.
Yep.
Now some of these guys are pushing 300 hours, and they gotta burn 100 hours off by the end of the year. Well, if you don't have a window for it, what do? You always end up in this vacation crunch, and then at the end of the year, now you got 2, 3, 4 tenured employees that are like, hey man, I'm not losing my 50 weeks, because all year, they're not vacation guys, or they're, you know what I mean? Where at least if you're in a payout scenario, like, hey man, I'm sorry, you're just gonna take the check, I need you, cause it's last week of December and we're getting 12 inches of snow. and then at least it kind of just,
Friction.
I've advocated for it, I really think we need to probably help out, cause Russ just ran into that now. Now you got an end of the year deal, he's in transitional phase, and you got guys burning vacation. And I think that needs to be said, because when it's like, well, I got him on vacation, he should have been doing his job, well, he wasn't, because of the policy we have, kind of forces you to do it or donate your vacation, well, who the hell wants to donate vacation?
Yeah.
So that's,
Yeah.
I think that needs to get built into this whole conversation of this communication thing. John was gone because he needed to burn his vacation out.
Yeah,
And he came back in for one day, him and Russ didn't communicate, Russ sent him out to do work when he should have been doing this,
Yeah.
and we ran into a problem.
Yeah.
And I had heard, I think it was up there on that Magrum deal, not Magrum, what's his name?
That Magrum deal, easy, Mr.
Woolbomb
Chair.
deal.
Yes,
That Woolbomb
they were
deal.
working on the Woolbomb deal
Something
because,
on the gravel.
well,
pile.
cause Fisher is up there starting to reclaim
Yeah,
the pile
reclaim.
now and move topsoil
Yeah.
around. And again, it probably got a little more heated than it maybe should have, but in the end, it was a communication barrier, something that is easily resolved.
Yeah.
But I think we need to maybe consider looking into some different vacation options or some kind of scenario,
I'll
because
tell you how the railroad, did it, is, so they made you use so much prior to a certain date, like, the 1st of November. If you were a 4-weeker, you had to use 2 weeks. You can't roll over on the railroad, it was use or lose, you took your vacation, but they also had sick leave, they had personal leave. You had so many personal, I think it was 3 personal days that you could use for anything, and you could carry those right up to the last 3 days and take those off. They didn't regulate those, but like I said, if you were a 4 or a 5-week person, you had to use 3 weeks prior to, say, the 1st of September, 1 week prior to the 1st of December, and then you could carry 1 week into it, but that was what the railroad does. They had a few more options, like I said, some personal leave days to use for other things, cause that's what a lot of people, we didn't have sick leave on the railroad, so you held vacation till the last day, because if you wound up getting sick or had doctor's appointments, that's what you had to use with vacation. And then the personal days is kind of what the 3 personal days in case you had something like that come up, but that was what the railroad did, and that's, not that you wanna force people into taking vacation, but that's also another option too, of if you're a 5-week guy and you're accruing 5 weeks per year, you know, you have to use 2 weeks of those up at by a certain point, or.
well, and the thing at Falkirk is it wasn't an accrual process. January 1, you got your 4 weeks or your 5 weeks, then you had the year to burn it down.
Burn it.
So you're not accruing while you're burning,
Right.
which is another problem we run into. These guys will burn 20 hours, but then they're accruing 5 hours a month or whatever their 10 years allowing them.
Yep,
It's a complicated process, it's been adapted by
I
all
don't
the
understand.
state
It's
and
so
government, it's a government vacation policy that matches the state and feds and a lot of different people. Emmons County adopted it when they decided to start giving their employees vacation, whichever year that was, and it's never been messed with. It's kinda like going back to Rush's conversation, he's running into things at the department that have always been. It doesn't mean they have to stay that way, but some things aren't broken, don't fix it, and that's where it takes time to learn it, and that's where even as commissioners now, you're starting to identify some of kind of the pitfalls of employment vacation and where that lands with us, and I think we could modify ours to be a little more concrete. I think it's too fluid. And then all of a sudden at the end of the year, all the fluid gets froze and it's like, oh, by the way, you gotta burn 40 hours in 3 days, but you can't do that, well, then you're donating. You got disgruntled employees, cause their superintendent didn't let them leave in October when he wanted to, cause there was a storm.
Working on
And
roads.
I think if you had some kind of cash payout, you make a minimum burn down, and then a little bit left over comes to a settled out every year, just like business. Then when you retire, you know what you're gonna be getting,
Yep.
and we know, hey, somebody's gonna be retiring by August, okay, well, you better burn up your vacation or it's gonna come in cash, and then you're gonna lose 42% of it to income tax, and you can have some structured planning from it. There's another thing, is some of these tenured guys, if they decide they wanna burn up their 200 hours and don't want the check, they could take 2-3 months off here, and then if you say no, now you're fighting with them, like, it's just not a good situation.
It's not a good situation, ever since I've been on this.
definitely should be looked into.
I think there's
Yeah.
private sector solutions that make a lot more sense that we could start looking at modifying, but to piggyback that conversation, that goes into some help from HR, so maybe Tanya can help us out with
I
that.
would agree.
It's all one thing with another, but
Thank you.
anyway, enough of a rant.
So I guess we can move on to the miscellaneous, the building permit for Orville Dykeman to build a 30x34 residence with a 30x54 garage on the southwest of section 21, 12977. This is gonna be south of here,
It's glorified northern South Dakota.
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
It's closer to Pollock than Westfield, I can tell you that.
Well, that's down by the old farm.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
that road that you guys had trees
Oh,
removed.
we had those trees removed?
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah, right on that
That's
road.
right next to Roger Reitman's old place, or Dave's
Is that
right.
young?
Yeah, there's an old
Yeah,
house,
yeah.
Okay,
he's gonna rebuild the house, right where there's an old house right there, so setbacks are good, I don't see any other issues.
yeah, he's way backed up off the
Yeah,
road.
Yeah,
it's
it's way
Yeah,
back.
right over there by Lowell Sea Road.
Yeah, up in south of David Wright,
Yep,
yeah,
West,
south of west.
Straight west.
yeah,
You gotta go south to get
South
to
and
it, but
then
it's
go-
straight west of the yard,
yeah,
yep.
you go south and west.
Yep,
Yep, there it
yep,
is.
yep, yep.
Yeah, he tore the old house down.
Taking the old house down?
Small
Yeah,
shop.
he's gonna put it right there, same
Okay.
location, so.
Is that the old Daycom homestead?
No, it was a Putnam place, but
Okay.
Orville, his dad,
They
bought
lived
it,
out there.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
For
that's where
number
Ward
of years.
lived?
Yep,
Okay.
his dad lived
All
there,
right.
yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second of that,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
I'm going to abstain due to a conflict of interest, I'll
Okay.
get some work up there.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Then amend the 2024 appropriations?
Can we, take that off and discuss it next month? I gotta get some more numbers together. I
Okay.
was gonna take it off yesterday.
Next month.
Just a little information on that, so usually what happens, Mr. Chairman, is you'll go over a certain line item or a certain budget item, we still have the money, put in the budget, there might be a spot in red, another spot's in black, and then we amend that.
Amend it together.
We can legally do that, because even though we went over a budget item, we still have the dollars, we didn't spend counting in red, just a specific line item.
I'll put it on for next month.
Then there's a tax abatement for parcel 52-0006 -00523 -000 for tax year 2024.
It's a homestead credit that he was approved for, so.
I'll make a
That's
motion to
Al
approve,
Schmaltz. Okay,
make a motion to approve the tax abatement.
okay, Mayor, approved. Motion second,
Yep,
Miller,
yep.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Do these have to be signed, Aaron?
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. We're gonna discuss the zoning ordinance?
Yeah, you wanna do those?
Oh.
Zoning ordinance, and then there was a road committee discussion too,
Oh,
and stuff,
yeah.
so.
That probably isn't terrible, I had really talked to Russ about it. And I wanted to comment to him that, you know, him working, with the new deals on the blades really did help.
The picks.
And, down our area, it really
It
made a
helps.
difference, yeah.
He went west, and then the first 2 miles, they weren't aggressive at issue. And then I think they got a feel of it,
Yeah.
and then it was good all the way out to
Yeah, our
1804.
roads aren't bad.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not perfect.
They're not a highway.
No, but they're better than
Oh, yeah.
they, a lot
Well,
of
it's
years.
kinda like that mulching attachment behind the tractors,
Yeah,
you know, the first day they had it, it was ugly. By day two, even John T's like, I think I got it figured out, and boy, the roads from day 2 to day 1, and so you'll see that where they're a little timid, they don't wanna break something, once they get a feel like they're not gonna break something, they start speeding up, they go deeper, I mean,
Everything
gonna-
works better.
you're gonna have, there's
Gotta
been a
learn.
lack of,
Get a feel for
there's
it.
been a lack of ability to handle growing pains, and we're gonna have to tolerate that, guys, cause you can't try anything new without failing, and you can't try anything new without running into issues, that's just how it's
it's
gonna
gonna be tough.
Yeah.
And you gotta praise the guys for doing out of the box thinking, if they're gonna try something, even if it didn't work, hell, we tried it.
Yeah.
You gotta do something, you can't just say it won't work and never do it. That won't work.
They took a cat out there to that Wobon place, as I drove over there, and they took the back window out. Well, all it would've taken was a cardboard setting in like a woman bakes, and she's got her bake pans. This is for the cat, put it in the back with ratchet straps, done deal. But they broke a back window out,
Oh, yeah.
so yeah, it
I've done
happens.
that on my excavators too, and I even had it covered and still got through and broke a window.
Yeah.
You get a little tacky snow in the morning, just enough to grab a rock on your
yeah.
tire, you start throwing, it's tough.
Yeah.
That's why winter work is expensive. It
You bet.
breaks
That is,
stuff.
that's why
It
you
is.
bid it on.
Winter work is expensive.
Yeah, everything's cold.
Who do you want to see it to right there? This one here. Gonna have to be approved on the other side. Gonna have to be approved questionnaire. And I can just sign this one.
You're the chairman, you sign it, the board approves it, you sign it.
Yeah, there is a box culvert on Fourth Avenue, that is in pretty bad shape. Down by Mary Ann Pond.
Yes, okay, so you're talking,
Where's this at, Jim? Excuse me.
you're talking about like south of the
Ellen.
Big Al Newsom's place, right?
Yep,
Oh,
yep,
that's
Okay.
like Dennis Hahn.
yep.
Cause I got a call on that back in October, and then I called John, and either John or somebody went down and they put some flags by it at least, to
Yeah.
kind of, and that was, you know, again, that was during our transitional period when we didn't have a
Sure.
superintendent too, so it was more so, hey, just put something up so people know. And I don't remember if they put something on Facebook maybe or something, but
I
just,
know there's no flags there
they
now,
probably, yeah, got blown over.
but it is.
It's
Yeah.
bad there.
Mhm.
There's another place, I can't explain it, by Mike Schwab's, I can't explain it. Where Mike Schwab's yard is at, to the north and then east, there's an old Doolittle place. Supposedly on the north side, you know where it's at, Eric? Russ told me it's a Doolittle place.
Somewhere up by Howard Garnis then or something, if you're north?
Yeah, to the east of Garnis.
Okay,
And
okay.
then there's a Feist from Napoleon or Wishick that owns land.
Yep, Paul,
Paul?
yep.
There's a culvert there that's mined into the road, and man, is this dangerous. It's bad. And then you go up by Joey Culver. Yeah, is that to the east of Joe? Yeah, east of Joe, you go down a deep draw. There's a bad spot, and then you go and you turn north, and the road curves on down, going north. There's another bad one where it's mined in, it was an old cement box.
Yeah.
Culvert and the sides are broke in from the blades, I suppose, hitting it.
Yeah.
They're bad, and they're just menace, they're really good to do. Culverts.
I think Russ went down and looked at this, I told him about it.
I know John and them knew about it and stuff, again, that was,
Or maybe, yeah,
it was sometime around October, but again,
Oh,
that was
okay.
when we didn't have a road superintendent, so John and Gar were kind of
so
tag
they
team, so
were
there,
aware of it.
there's
See,
probably some lack of communication there too, just because nobody knew whose job it was,
Yeah.
you know, I know flags got put in, cause whoever called me, it told me, hey, thanks for.
Cause I had
putting
people
flags
call
on."
me east of Strawberry Elevator on the north side where it was mining where Mel Weinstein lives.
Yep,
Oh, yeah.
And I had some flags in the shop,
Yep.
and I went out and drove them in, just so people, and they worked on it, I think, the county guys, all
Yep.
rocking and all gravel and dirt. But it's, that place there by Dennis Hahn, that's the old Highway 83 corridor.
I don't know for sure if that was.
well, I don't
you
know, I've only been to Hans' place, I've never been south of it, so I don't know, but.
See, the old Highway 3 was right by Hall Cemetery.
Cemetery, but I think it didn't go over, then
It
south.
might have, yeah.
That's on the east-west side of the lake.
It might have, yeah.
I think it
I
did.
can't answer that, yeah.
You know, another one, like, it's just kind of a new commissioner type thing, maybe not so much Gardner, but you too, but generally, you know, it's kind of been okay to go out to the road department, and they usually have like a nice, like a 1x2 with a big orange flag
Oh,
wrapped
yeah,
to it, like
yeah.
a good flag.
Yep,
I have a couple at my shop that, like, when we had a culvert go out right by my house on a Sunday, someone called me, I just
Yeah.
run out and popped one right in that hole, like, it's not a bad idea to have a few, and they're big, I mean, the
They're
wind
big.
blows, they're big. Just to at least mark a culvert or like a bad spot, cause if you're the closest one and it's like a
Yeah.
Sunday, at least you get a flag by it. And then you can call in and the guys can come on a Monday or something,
You
but that's,
bet,
like,
yeah.
if you go out there, I took, I think, 4 of them, and I still probably have 2. so,
I got
mean,
mine from
It doesn't happen a lot, but it has happened if a time or two, or especially if we get into a watery spring.
Well,
You can
yeah,
pop
right.
1 or 2 if some water's over the road, that way at least in the dark, they see a flag, they might stop or slow down, so.
You bet.
Just something to help out the road guys when you're out in your area and they're not, you know.
Yeah, well, try to keep my eyes open when you drive it.
Oh, yeah, cause you notice it, you take notice.
Yeah, you bet.
What else is there, guys?
Russ?
Go ahead, Bill.
So, you got your zoning ordinance yet?
That was amended, added, that was amended, added, Craig added it to.
You added that, okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Yep,
I got an ordinance book off of Marla's here last week, and she said it has not been updated in, what'd you say, how many years? Tremendous amount,
Tremendous.
yeah.
yep. Too many.
And there's a lot of this information in the minutes, but it's not written down anywhere. So how's anybody really supposed to know what our ordinance is if they can't read it? So this really needs to get updated and soon. So we're gonna have battery storage coming into the area, we have to discuss that, how to handle that.
That's gonna be tough too.
Yeah.
Well, I know, like Marlis has copies of the past amendments and stuff, and they're included, but right, like there isn't like in, like
It's
if
not
you hadn't kept your,
organized.
right, exactly. And same thing, that ordinance book, the one I have is that blue book in
Right.
type, I think it was done
Right.
in 92, 89.
I remember,
I can't
we had a
remember.
committee, and I know it was Sarah,
Was it Joe, Sarah and Joe?
Joe, and was it John, Mary, I don't even know.
Is there a zoning board now?
No, just
No,
a,
no.
just a, bunch of,
Well, a long
was a
time
committee
ago, I know I was on the zoning board.
And I
a
think
number of
there-
years ago.
there was one, I think Sarah had something typed up.
I know
And
she
then
worked on
Denise
it for a
took it
while.
over. Then Denise went in and wanted to do some changes, and they both left, and then
Yeah, I have no idea.
So 1982 is when this was drafted, as a part of Emmons County's comprehensive plan,
So
so
that's over 40 years ago.
what happened was, there was a committee that was formed that was gonna adopt a new comprehensive plan. The problem that the committee ran into is, the comprehensive plan was mostly kind of a copy and paste from Burley County, and then we're gonna edit out of it, but it was this thick.
Oh, boy.
And I don't think anybody, I shouldn't say anybody, but a majority of people in Emmons County would much rather see a book this thick.
Yes.
You got that
So
right.
why a revision is sorely needed, and you're
Right.
correct, and we need to update some of these amendments and some of these things we've passed, and these ordinances. I think the reason you run into a roadblock is because the adoption of, lack of a better term, obscene amount of rules, it's not gonna benefit anybody. I think the amendments we've made, and maybe some updates to it would be good.
Yeah, that's all we
You
need
know,
to do.
but I mean, the big question's gonna be who does it.
So what the city did, we did a big update on all the ordinances, which still haven't been read, so they're sitting out there, but, most of it was verbiage, some changes. We paid our city attorney to do it. And then like I said, we haven't tackled them all, we haven't even, they've been sitting out there for about a year. But what we did is, we started doing is Joe would bring, Hanson would bring, one chapter to the meeting, take it home, read it, go through it, if any changes, we come back to the next meeting, you know, we talk it through if there were any changes, and basically that would go in the file as, okay, these are, the verbiage is updated, he basically updated them to 2020, at the time, probably 2023 terms. And maybe that's something we need to look into. And then maybe we can digitalize them and put them on the courthouse's webpage so people can pull their own ordinances, zoning issues if they want to, and look it up on their own.
On
That'd be
PDF
a
file or
good
something.
idea.
Well, absolutely, we live in a digital age, so, but maybe that's the step in the first direction. It involves all of us, but they're first updated to proper verbiage and what could be, defended in court and the state's attorney feels like would be even prosecutable or usable or stand behind, and then we, every month, take a book home, take a chapter home, read through it, and then come back and say, you know, make changes, yeah, these work, we like these, this is some changes, you know, everybody, and I mean, it's fencing
Well-
to this, to that, to that.
That's an awesome suggestion, because chapter by chapter is probably gonna be the easiest way to do it. And second of all, there's some chapters that are probably very unchanged, so at least you could get an updated book relatively fast.
Right.
The amendments that have made, probably mostly been on the energy side, cause we've updated wind towers, pipelines, you know, one of these fence line, things like that, we've never really touched. So it would probably be easy to at least get a renewed copy.
And the verbiage is updated.
Well, the nice part about it is the board really doesn't have to approve it, like you can approve the update, but the one thing you have to be wary about is you can't make any specific changes to the ordinance without going through the process, which
Right.
is for, so.
And they
So
talk
that's why
about-
it basically be an update more than like any kind of a change, and so that's where consulting with Joe as far as like, are we getting in the water with?
Yeah.
Like you can't really almost even change any verbiage without it going through probably.
The reading.
You'd almost have to like update the ordinance through a reading process,
Right.
just because otherwise it's like, you changed that from this to this and now you're screwing me, like you gotta, like I'm not disagreeing with you,
Right, yeah.
I'm trying to just bring the dark side that like.
Well, and that's what we
There's a
haven't
reason why
done.
some of this stuff doesn't change us, cause you get to that point, you're like, oh,
Right,
boy.
the city hasn't done.
I don't wanna get sued, so
No,
it would be, I think it would be a great ongoing process to do that. I think
Yeah.
that would be the right way to do it, and like you said, get it digitized, get the new amendments, and then that way you don't have a page with the old amendments with a new one just over the top of it, which is currently what we have.
right,
And we don't have a ton of amendments though, like, it's not like this book has been half rewritten, there's maybe a dozen. It's not gonna be that hard, so I think that is something that this board should start moving forward with the state's attorney and probably with Josh, just because he's a part of it. My recommendation is you put it on old and unfinished business and we start using it as like a monthly update to start doing it. I think it's something that we just tackle soon, cause
The sooner the.
this board, naturally, we discuss things, and then it's almost kind of the same issue like Russ brought up, it's like, well, whose job is it to do that,
Yeah.
how come nobody told me, well, we all agreed, we liked the idea, and then nobody was like, hey, are we gonna, and I don't think any one person should do it, like going, okay, Josh, go update it, that's not fair, but
Yeah.
if we kinda have an agreement, like, hey, Josh and Joe are gonna start working together, or maybe put it to this point, and we're gonna start approving it, reading through it, things like that. If we read something that really does need changes, that's when you start, like we've done, you propose an amendment, you do a reading, you get the public hearing involved, and if everybody's fine with it, then that's how you update your ordinance book.
right,
Might take a year, but
yeah,
Yeah.
at least it's better than where
But
we're
at
at
least
now,
it's
which is
not.
we're not working on it.
Yep.
yeah.
And
And, you know,
Commissioner, exactly
there's
right.
stuff that's changed, state law, that probably hasn't been updated, and Aaron Joe would be able to,
As you're reading through these, you're gonna be like, man, this needs to get amended,
Right.
and then at least you're updating yourself, you're updating your county, you're amending it as a group. It's not just somebody coming in with an agenda wanting to do it, it's,
absolutely.
and I think if it's transparent, you public hearings, people are okay with it, and then you get an updated ordinance book in 6 months to a year, and I think that'd be a great way to do it. And it also would allow you to revise any current issues we have, cause we're going through our ordinance book.
Right.
Sounds good.
I
And
think
then
it's
you
a
got
great,
5, 6, 7 heads wrapped around it, looking
Yeah.
at them,
Instead of one.
yeah.
my suggestion, Mr. Chairman, is to add it to old and unfinished business, and we start working on it.
Okay,
I'd say each one of you get a book and go through it.
do we get a book from that, from ours?
I got this book given to me, I believe, from, I don't remember which commissioner gave it to me, or.
Well, the thing
Alex
about
John
it
or
is, if you do
somebody
it,
had it, it's, yeah.
if you do it the process I'm talking about, you don't really need the old book. 'Cause
Well, you
we're-
would only need it just
Just
as a pinpoint, so you had
Just
two of them, but
something
right,
fine.
but
And
the
basically-
idea is to get rid of this.
How Joe did it for us was, he took the old chapter, and this is how he changed the verbiage, or this is the change, and then you know what the old was and the new,
Was.
and you say, yeah, that sounds good, or, so you get to see both parts of it, that's how we did it. So that you don't really need
State
to,
century code's on the internet, and the only people I know that have the books are lawyers and legislators, so. So I know my dad gets the updates sent to him, and then he puts them on a bookshelf, he goes on the internet and reads the new, I mean, you know, who's gonna look through the book when the internet's so easy, they got
Yeah,
a catalog.
right.
And I think if you did, like you said, follow through, catalog it on the homepage, it's
Yeah,
gonna
that'd
be
be
way
awesome.
easier, I think
Way
it'd be
better.
fantastic, I think that'd be the way to do it.
another thing there, Chairman, was, you may have forgotten, but you and I were
15th.
right
Yeah.
at 7:30, and I don't
Yeah.
know if you wanna go to a Morgan County meeting, somebody'd have to
January
ride in the
15th?
back of the pickup, or we'd have to drive separately.
Oh, I'm not
Well,
going,
three
which
of
way
us.
going.
No, we can't.
Well, that's what I'm saying, somebody would have to drive separately.
Can you drive separately and meet, or no?
Yeah, you can drive separately, but if you're in like the same building, you're kinda stretching the rules already, like it's, I mean, you could be accused of something and you'd have to be able to prove that you're not meeting or something, like you
Yeah.
can say all you want, so
So,
I think the best thing is if you two already made plans, that's fine, and then if there's another opportunity later, I'll try to attend or I'll do something.
Because just from what I was told from
Yeah.
you two guys
Yeah.
and him, he said, everybody should see it.
Yeah,
We're not on that scale, but he said it's
No.
a good guideline to go by.
there's stuff there we can pick up and use
Yeah,
in our county.
And I know I have a public health meeting on the 14th in the evening and so I'm already kinda got some meetings in that time window, so why don't you guys go at it, and then if you hear about another meeting, then I'll try to attend that one.
well, and Russ kinda had, he was the one that brought it up with us, that those two had gone, I didn't even know about it.
So wait, are you talking about their county road committee,
Yes,
Yeah.
and
yeah,
they meet like monthly?
Right.
yes.
So there'd be another opportunity in February, March.
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, why don't we do that, that way we're not treading these rules.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
right. So
don't
that's
even wanna
good.
cross paths with you guys and get.
And I just wanted to bring it up, I
Yeah,
I
but
knew
it's
that,
great.
like I said, I knew that you'd have to ride in the back of the pickup and.
I ain't got no hair, I gotta have
You
heat.
walk into somewhere and there's two guys there and you walk in.
Well, it's
What do you
tough.
do? You gotta excuse yourself and walk
Well, you
out.
do, I mean, obviously, you're not conducting business, it'd be hard to prove that you're collaborating, but as long as you're cognizant of it, you just try to avoid it, you know, you just
Yeah.
do the best you can. And you end up at a company Christmas party and somebody invited a few of you, you just try and stay on the other end and whatever, but, I mean, that's just the nature of things, you know, public meetings, that's how you want transparency, so.
There's
Right.
another letter here from what they call it, Christina Sepna.
Yeah.
And it goes, "Dear Christina, should I read the letter? What do you guys
We
have?"
got it.
Okay, take a look at it.
So there's a-
You're fully compliant with that.
No discrepancies or errors, so.
Good job to her.
Good.
Yep, not a great one.
Is there anything else that was missed?
You know, in the
We were
back-
up at that meeting.
In the
Pardon?
back of our board minutes, we also have that, community action program board member to replace Gary Holm. Anybody wanna do that?
You know what, since, Dan was so gracious and took the chairman position
Thank
and
you, Jim.
stick me with it, I'll do that.
Oh,
Yeah.
A second.
so who motioned it him?
Is there a motion for that?
I think you just volunteered, I'll make a
Yeah,
motion to
yeah.
appoint Commissioner Gardner.
I did volunteer, so.
To the-
Okay, is there a second? Miller?
said-
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Gardner.
But that, it was just the bills, right?
It was just the bills.
So I filled it out for you once,
This is the end of year report
has to
now.
be done again, even if, regardless of whether you took anything or got anything,
Right.
okay, alright.
And now that you're in the position, every year, you're gonna have to fill one out too. I'll give it to you every year.
Okay.
So, yeah, everybody's got this.
Everybody's got to fill it out.
I need it back.
Even
on
if you're
Thursdays.
not, even if your term is up, you still fill it
Yeah, I
out.
have to fill one out.
Well, cause
every-
you can still take campaign contributions.
For the next,
They don't-
next go,
The
really.
Democrats didn't stop giving Kamala Harris and Trump is still getting money, even, you know, I guess I get it, yeah.
I think everything else has been run across as a done, guys.
Marlis, is there anything in here that we should know about? That seemed odd to you. I looked through the bills and I didn't
Nope.
see anything that really stuck out that looked. And this is
I know there
this
was-
is new stuff since you printed this up?
Yes.
Okay, alright.
Fill this out.
You know, there was one of them, I'm gonna tell you, one bill in there to C&H industrial accounts. It was for parts and service for the road department for $7,850, okay.
I was told about this.
Russ did not approve that bill, Jody just texted me that Russ would not approve that bill. I don't know why, what happened is that if we don't pay that bill by, I think it was January something, they were gonna charge us finance charge.
Okay.
So
It was
I,
something that on a, it's a roller, is it not?
so I went ahead and I just said, well, we probably better just pay it to prevent the finance charge. And now he didn't approve it and I don't know why. I wish he would have said something when he was in here, why he didn't approve it.
It's on an old roller from what I was told, if there's merit to that, and this is secondhand.
This the walk and roll,
Huh?
this the walk and roll deal?
No,
It's
it's a
$7,800.
No,
deal.
see,
C&H
it's 7,833.
CNH industrial. accounts.
Yep, that's International dealership, is it not?
Yep.
Jim, right?
Which one was it?
What is it, CNI?
Case New Holland.
CNH.
Oh,
Case New Holland.
and
That the roller was super
Where at?
old, and they must have.
I could look myself,
And just said, go through it, and whatever needs to be done.
CNH
And then you
industrial.
can just.
Oh, here it is, right on top, okay, not
And the
approved.
units only.
yeah, that's probably in,
Those are in mine, yeah.
yeah, I've
But
got.
how can you
that's
not
why-
pay it though? How can you not pay it?
Well, this might be
This is one of those, I think you eat and pay.
yeah, this might be a power struggle. Somebody's upset with somebody else,
Yeah.
maybe, I don't know, I'm just assuming that it hasn't been approved, but. Inspect for repairs, repair front and rear drums, machine service.
You know, and I always try to prevent finance charge if we can.
Well, absolutely.
Oh,
Yeah.
So that's why I went ahead and just paid it, and
Cause you need board approval on that, correct?
well, you guys would just go through and if you would just have to,
You would
Sign it.
now.
I paid it, you guys, I paid it. I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean, if it's a done deal, that's probably gonna wind up being some growing pains out there again if somebody bought it and didn't.
I hope this oil deal is a good deal, this tar deal, that we bought that. tar
Well,
deal.
and that was, like I said, that was kind of in place with, Skylar had originally, and I know I had talked to Aaron from council to commission, saying, hey, if you guys look at a tar barrel, the city of Linton would probably do some cost sharing, and Aaron said, I think we're just gonna go for it because it benefits the whole county and us, and so, yeah, I would really
Well,
like
we were
to.
running into a problem with even like insurance liability, and if it starts on fire and it's half owned, you know, like it made more sense and it was cleaner for the county to just take it on and then sell to others,
Yep.
and hopefully have some kind of agreement, maybe even in writing, that they would commit to it.
And I just know coming into a period, I don't know
Yeah,
if the city of Linton is tarring in 25, considering we're doing an overlay project for the whole city.
right.
So I don't know if
For
we're
the whole city.
necessarily, yeah, we're doing
Okay.
I mean, it's our 10, 12-year,
Mhm.
little milling, some overlaying, we're putting in a bunch
Well, but
of.
truthfully, if
and-
the tank is 2,500 gallons, the county will almost speak for most of that, because we usually use 2 wagons full. So we're gonna be in that 1,000 to 1,200 or so gallons at
Yeah.
least, minimum,
And I'm
because
not sure what the city of Linton, maybe
Right.
1,000.
Strasburg, and, you know, cause even like Hazelton, they went to an emulsion because they couldn't get tar. You might see them come back, now, you know, like,
Yeah.
it's one of them deals where we already had a need anyway, the city of
Right.
Linton was very interested. You might even have the state come out and buy a little, like, if it's just
Yeah.
a short, like, it just seemed to make more sense for everybody, instead of all of us struggling with tar.
Well, and that's why I
To
brought it
work
up.
together, like you said, Ashley, Wishick, if they're like, hey, Emmons County's got 500, they part with, yeah, we know you're in a jam. And at least we could be the type that are like working together with people instead of always being like, hey, we need tar, we need tar. And then
Yeah.
if you're not tarring, your roads are falling apart, so.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's been nice, I think, for the city of Linton, for the public works director who's new,
Yeah.
to look to learn a lot of these guys in the surrounding areas, because like I said, they've gone to McIntosh.
And you're gonna have
they've
a
been to
struggle,
Logan.
you're gonna have a struggle with a lot of things right now, because Skylar was spearheading a lot of that stuff. Like even this tar thing, someone's gonna have to step in and just be like, I don't know how it is, but I'll figure it out. You
Right.
know, and whether that's Russ or he delegates it to someone else, you know,
Right.
and same thing with, even like these time cards, I don't know, did Skylar have access, was he the secondary person? Right, well, they were getting done, and we weren't micromanaging it, but there probably was, he was the secondary option, now that he left, now it is just John, well, either, you know, Russ needs to be the secondary option, or needs to delegate to someone else.
Right.
That's just, those are the growing pains of transition, it's just how it is.
And I think Skylar liked to be out in the field on the equipment, and he was good at it.
Well, and not only that though, but even you guys won't know as well as I do, there's a dozen meetings a week with, oh, you gotta come out and look at where these trees are growing, you don't have time to manage some of this road stuff, or I mean, not the road stuff, but the office type stuff.
Right.
You need a guy that's out there looking at culverts, taking pictures, you know, taking measurements, delegating to other guys, you know, and I mean, that's where it's just gonna be some growing pains. I mean, I bought a business from my dad that I even partially ran before I bought it from him. And I'm still going through growing
Yeah.
pains of, you know, things we did that could be better, things,
Why
you know,
did
that.
we do it this way?
And I'm
Same thing with
hoping-
any of your farms or any of the, you know what I mean, the things the way your dad did it, and you're in it, and now
Yeah,
you're
right.
doing it, you're like, why are we doing it
I'm
this way? Well,
hoping
it's-
with
You make the
Russ,
change.
some of his frustration today was the fact that he came in late in the year.
Bad time.
But yeah, just an all-around bad time, and he was just very frustrated and very, I'm hoping that's where him talking of, I don't know, if I'm the right guy, is hopefully just,
He's venting.
yeah, I hope that's
I
the
hope
case,
so.
yeah.
Yeah, I do too. Hopefully they can,
You wanna go through all these bills, guys, one by one?
I don't need to, I can look at.
No,
I gotta look at this printout. How
So
about
again,
you, Ed?
that printout, yeah, I mean, the only thing I generally do, call it good or bad, I look at the big ones.
Yeah,
There's a
The big guys
$30,000
that
bill.
take it,
The,
pull it out and need
the $102 bill to back, I know what that is, or, you know, so I mean, that's where if you wanna
Well,
save some
I
time.
look at my auditor who would hopefully tell us if there's
If there's
something out of the
something wrong.
ordinary.
And it was that one bill that
That's 7,800.
Yeah,
I paid it.
And I heard about that when I was up at that wool bond deal, so I didn't sign an invoice,
Okay.
just so you're aware of it coming into me, but you're not caught off guard. And he said, I heard a thing about it,
Chairman's gotta sign that.
and it should have been a
Unless you
call.
see a discrepancy with
You
it.
know, they just said, hey, just go fix it, so that I know what we're sticking in this piece of equipment. That's not.
is anybody going to the
Did that happen?
legislative thing on Monday? I was just kinda curious, the 9th, right?
What is it?
That,
Oh, I know what you're
That'd be
talking
on
about.
Thursday, right?
That
I
legislative,
thought it was Monday, yeah,
from NDACO,
yeah,
it's called a day of Capitol Hill or
yeah,
something
anybody
like that.
going to that? Isn't that Monday, the 9th, I thought it, or maybe the 16th?
I think it's,
I don't think, I think I had something,
no, it's on,
Monday's the 11th.
18th and 19th, I believe, right?
oh, I thought I,
January or February?
February.
I know we got that.
or maybe I got my dates all wrong then.
You could go on to NDACO and go under events and they'll have
We're
it.
leaving at 7:30, right?
Legislative Process Development Manager, they came and talked to us about it, right? That they're
At
gonna
the
do a
6th
little,
county,
yeah, they're gonna do a little thing first and then
I'm not gonna be around.
the legislative process, Monday, January 6th, 10 to 11:30. Highly anticipated legislative session begins.
Who's this one, Dan?
That's what I thought it was, wasn't it?
That's actually,
That's
credit
the
card,
other-
that's
that's
credit
the
card
other.
state,
Yeah.
is what that is.
Yeah.
So we,
Maybe
the
I'm-
county must have a,
Maybe I'm
So we
looking
got
at
a
something.
credit line up there with
Here you
CNI?
go, save the date,
We
local
must have a
government
credit line.
capital
yeah, that's a
connection,
credit, what is that?
18th
Yeah,
and
a
19th,
credit
which is
card.
Mark Event
Yeah.
Center.
Okay, anybody going to that? Anybody plan on going to that?
I might go up to that.
What was the date, Jim,
It's the 18th and the 19th
of January?
of February.
Yeah, this is where?
My, I don't know, yeah.
Well, there's, I just get so many, League of City and now ILG and county, and it's like, I can't keep them all straight, even with the planner.
If you go on to the NDACO website and click events, all their events come up, and this one is on the 18th and 19th of February. It's a capital connection, I think you could talk to legislators and,
Yeah, I think, Aaron, first had talked about
Yeah.
at 6 County, they're gonna do a county session in the morning, and then you go there or something like that.
yeah,
It's
and
gonna be a
then,
quick
and then there's
4-hour
a
deal.
social at night,
Yeah,
being held with the legislators.
So on that county deal, we were at that tri-county deal, 6 counties, and there were 4 of us there.
Mm-hmm.
That's legal, is it not?
Cause I was there too.
Yes,
so-
Marcy was there to take minutes and that was an
Yeah.
organized meeting.
that
So
was-
then
yeah,
that's
there
all
was
good.
minutes
Well, the
taken
6th
on
county
it.
is open to the public.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, and that's,
Okay.
yeah, that's
Okay.
different.
That was interesting, I actually thought I went
It's just
over
funny how
that.
you gotta be so careful.
Oh, you gotta be so careful on this.
So are you gonna sign this?
I guess, do
And
what?
You get to go through.
What do you
every
think
one
I
of
do?
them, Chairman. You get to
You
go
have
through
to sign
every
every
bill,
one
so
of
you
those
don't,
vouchers.
I don't, do I sign this or don't
Why are you?
so you can move on by
She already
sending those
paid
to
the bill.
somebody else.
Mr. Magnum, I need guys.
Still gotta sign it.
I know, sign it.
Yeah, right.
I mean, unless the board, I mean,
Is the board against it, or
the
you
big thing
approve
would be
it?
is unless the board doesn't approve it, then you begin to dispute it.
Well, it's got a repair portion to it and a parts portion that was put into one of our pieces of equipment.
In the
Whether,
roller.
whether the road superintendent approves it or not, I think we have to, personally have to pay it because we owe somebody for services.
I know, I'm just telling you.
Yeah, no,
that if
that's
you-
where I'm at.
When you pull a bill out here, if you wanna discuss it or anything, because otherwise, us going through here, we don't vote and approve on the bill, the approval is just
Yeah,
us looking at it. Now, if you have a discrepancy, you wanna bring it forward, then we discuss it. Like, if you have a bill where you're like, hey, I got a problem with this, we're in session, we're dealing with it.
yeah.
Once we leave here, basically,
It's
by
signed.
not saying anything, you're approving the bill. you know?
Okay.
Mhm.
I guess then sign the bill.
And that's why I usually.
Anybody have anything else to say?
Usually the chairman sits on the end with the bill signing, it makes it a little easier, that's why I always
Yeah.
move to the end, and then everybody
That's what I'm
looks at
saying,
it.
that
If it gets to you and nobody said anything,
Sign it and done
then
deal.
you're paying for it.
Right.
Yeah. Where's the base rate?
You what?
There's a lot of counties that don't even go through this process.
They don't even.
Well, like I said, I don't think a
There's
person.
usually like a sheet here, and you would just like look at it before the
Yeah.
meeting and like,
So
they
you
don't.
want to just put this one in?
I
Cause
think
like
if you have
Logan and
questions-
some of them, they don't like sit
You
here and
gotta
look through every
sign
bill.
Right.
They would just, this would come in your packet or something.
You gotta sign each one.
There'd be a
Each
problem,
one.
like, what's this bill here, and you talk it over, and you either approve it or don't, otherwise.
Jimmy's a hell of a lot better at this than me.
I mean, not saying they don't get approved, obviously the commissioners look at it, but you don't go through and approve each bill.
Yeah,
Everyone you gotta sign.
Yeah, you gotta go through.
you might as
all
well go
that.
sit at the
I'll
end
go sit
over
at the
there,
end, and you
Joe's.
approve them all.
No, they send them on down to Jim.
Yeah, no.
Don't take that, stop. This still goes in here.
You're done with that.
That, no, you're done with that for right now, cause now you're moving into Jim. He can either look at them or pass them on.
Well, I don't think that.
We'll
I look
we'll
at
guide
that.
you, Dan, don't worry.
When I made that comment about sharing the burden, this is what I was
It's
talking about.
not much material.
I don't need to look at it, I look at the list.
Aaron, there is a voucher in my office on that top stamp that you have to sign.
Okay.
That was missed last month.
Okay.
Thank you.
I see they must be the last, somewhere on the corner. 49.
Did everybody look at the folder? This yellow folder is usually the engineering folder, so there was
Oh.
a couple from Wold, but the final payment on the box culvert for Wobom, and then, looks like, there was a little bit of engineering
that
for
was-
that Schwab. We asked them to do that Schwab evaluation.
How much do we spend a year on engineering?
Well, what we budget versus, I mean, it kinda depends, you know, but I mean, I would have to look. I mean, roughly, if it's not a specific project that we've already planned, I mean, roughly, we probably spend that 50 to 100,000 a year. Cause every time you go and have a study done, it's a couple $1,000. You go and have them do a survey, like when we have some of these fence line issues, it's $3,000, $4,000 or $5,000.
Yeah.
You know, every time you have them evaluate if we're gonna replace a culvert, which is good practice, cause you're putting in a culvert that's designed, you know,
Right,
just cause you're replacing it, you put it with like and kind, and it might not have been the right culvert in the first place,
yeah.
but you're paying $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, if they needed some survey info with it, now they got a survey crew, now it's $6,000, $7,000.
Well, in these deals, is there cost sharing with somebody?
See, isn't that with Morton, does Morton have a guy on
Well,
board,
so with,
right?
That's what I was looking at, yeah. They
An
have their
engineer.
own engineer.
well, and Burley County has that too, and the same.
But I
city
don't
does.
know if it would, you know, if we
Yeah,
have.
most counties just affiliate with an engineering firm, but,
Yeah.
the cost sharing on the Wobom, we already got paid, that's the per dog.
Okay.
So that money's already been, so that,
didn't pay
we've had
that.
that money.
We didn't pay that engineering on that.
Well, what we did is we got
At the end
a
of the
certified
year,
amount
when it's all said and
from the
done.
prairie dog, and we spent that amount essentially, so we didn't technically pay for it all, because that was our money.
But it did come out of our, so the budget, it came out of the
Yes.
very dog.
It came out of our budget from the prairie dog fund, yeah, so, yeah, when Marlis got that money, she put it in a separate account, right, a separate line item for the prairie dog. And those projects, like the Kelch culverts and the Wobom pit came from the prairie.
Very dog.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Yep,
Yeah.
so technically it was our money, but like it wasn't a cost share, even though that was state funds, it was allocated to us to do
To do that.
whatever we wanted within the confines of
Yeah,
their
well,
budget, and those projects fit
Yeah,
those
they're
confines,
talking
so
about changing it.
we used it. But it didn't come from tax dollars,
Right.
like, we didn't levy those tax
Right.
dollars, yes, we didn't. At least not all of them, I mean, we might have had some, I don't know if there was an overrun of a little bit, I don't think it was, or, it was pretty close on that prairie dog stuff.
We spent 1.9 and only got 1.3. They applied for flex funding, think we get some flex funding and we
Right.
didn't get it.
But then we also had probably some reserve funding from another.
Well, I'm kinda hoping if we get prairie dog money, I think we can use it for this past project, I'm hoping.
Well, yeah, I think you'd have to look into some of those.
You looked earlier, right?
We do someday.
And then the minutes for last month, there was a change, remember? So I'm gonna need you to sign those, Aaron.
Oh, okay.
From November's meeting
Mm-hmm,
that we approved in December.
sure.
I had to change something, so I need you to sign that. Then that should be it for you, Aaron, for signing.
I don't know, everybody acts like I'm leaving.
You're not
I ain't going anywhere,
You're gonna be right here.
I'm
you
still
said, why
probably
is
gonna be in the
everybody-
paper next week, yeah, it's no big deal.
When you said it earlier, why is everybody looking at me? I apologize. It's
I
only
was-
because we're in a U-shaped
It
table
was,
that I'm
it
looking
was
at.
an expression though, because everybody said it, and like, everybody turned to me, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell everybody's looking at me for.
I'm like, sorry, I'm just.
The only difference that's gonna happen is
kind of
instead of
across
being
from me.
Chairman Magrum in the newspaper, I'm gonna be Commissioner Magrum, that's the only thing that's changed. So, I'm sure the letter to the editors will be just as fierce.
Oh, yeah. There's another one coming, I think.
I wouldn't doubt it.
There'll be another one coming, I got the record.
Well, hopefully they're paying for them, that way at least the paper's getting a little money for it, and you guys support your local papers. Oh, is everybody done looking at them?
Everybody done?
Yep.
You're laughing, I should have got the others too,
I'm not laughing, I support you, I'm glad.
Megan, I'll need your help.
Yeah, you'll pick up fast.
Yeah.
So some of these here, Aaron, where do you sign these? You don't sign.
No, there's a
those, do you?
voucher on the back, stapled all the way, and then on the back side of that, nope, on the back side. At the bottom, there you go.
Okay.
Yep, all the vouchers look the same. And that back page is the one that's got all the information for the most part, that'll tell you the company, the amount, the date, and then if you wanna look at it, then you can go
Then
back
you
to
can flip
it. As a cheat code, if you already know what some of them are, you can just go right to the back, so. Well, here, let me make some room for you, man, yeah, there you go, yeah, let me
An
help you.
organized
Let
plan.
me help you.
Thanks, Aaron.
Always there to support.
You'll do fine.
Always there to support.
You know what we have,
Nerve-wracking,
you know,
nerve-wracking.
you know what we have in common with every other county commission chairman, Dan?
What's that?
Nobody else did it when they first did it too.
That's right. Every one of these vouchers are signed. You can look at it.
Doing audio, I think in auditorium.
Oh, that's good,
I was
thanks.
gonna say, that sounds like a concrete hammer drill.
I'm glad they're doing it now.
What do they work on?
Audio for the auditorium, Joe?
Yeah, I think that's what Craig said, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, if there's no other agenda, items, we can adjourn.
See, these vouchers, they're better than that. Look the amount of years.
I make a motion to
Well-
adjourn the meeting.
But I think you should still just sign it, because it's still.
So I seconded it.
Yeah.
Is that official?
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Mr. Chairman, can we adjourn?
Absolutely.
Gavel
Hit the
out.
gavel.
Hit the gavel.